So it looks like the creators of Splatoon wanted to wish us a Happy New Year, but was that the only message that they sent us? So if you haven't seen this already, Splatoon Japan, their Twitter account had posted this picture on New Year's Eve around 8 p.m. Eastern with a caption in Japanese. I couldn't find an official translation or even a fan-made, so I'll have to loosely try to translate it using Google. It goes, "How are you all? Some may be leisurely rest while others may be busy. It seems that Kumasan Shokai, which is Mr. Grizz, is also looking for a part-time job early on New Year's Day. I hope you come to Shibaki, Grizzco, at the beginning of the new year. Thank you again this year." And then in the picture, we have the stars up in the sky, constellations, and then it spells out "Have a great." And then you see the little boat that we would normally jump from in Salmon Run. And then we got 4 salmonids below that with 4 eggs. And they're kind of using the glow of the eggs to draw 2020 by overexposing the picture. And as you look down, you can see the reflection of the 2020 in the water. And then a little life raft of a squid or octoling that didn't really have a good shift. Now, not too long after this, of course, us being the lore and hungry Splatoon fans that we are, we started looking into what kind of hidden Easter eggs we could find in this, and any hidden meanings or any kind of hints coming from the creators of Splatoon. And people were soon to start thinking that the reflection of the 2020 could be standing for SOS, with the life raft covering up the second O, which would stand for Save Our Souls or Save Our Sail Ship. Or it just doesn't mean anything, apparently. But we know what SOS normally stands for. But it didn't take too long for people to look a little bit further into it and could see in the waves of the water, it was actually spelling out "Save Our Salmons." Pretty clear as day, but then as people found that, they started looking even further into the image, trying to overexpose it or enhance the image in some way, making it brighter to see if they could find anything. They started looking at that long, dark section in the middle going across horizontally, and people started saying that they could apparently see these images or symbols on the wall. I did find some images, but I can't say what the right one is. The left one, people were saying that it looked like a man holding a gun or some kind of person holding a gun, or squid or octoling. To me, it honestly looks more like a bear, and I think that would make a little bit more sense with the humpback and the feet. And then with all this, the speculation started coming in. People, of course, thinking that this is Splatoon devs' way of hinting to us that there could be some future DLC coming, or maybe some new news of Splatoon 3 starting development, or some information on their ideas and what kind of lore and story the game is going to revolve around. One theory people were having was the SOS reflection in the water of the 2020 at the top could actually be 505, symbolizing a date pointing to May 5th, 2020. There's nothing officially said to be on that day, but people were thinking maybe that could be a direct or a trailer or just some kind of news related to Splatoon or salmonids or Salmon Run or anything like that. People were looking at the bubbles that splashed onto the screen in the bottom left of the image, thinking it could represent a 3, symbolizing Splatoon 3. The sort of ominous feel of the image and the idea of save our salmonids, that someone's in danger. And of course, having an inkling or octoling out of commission, symbolized by the life raft. People were thinking that this could be the first signs of the effects of Chaos winning the last Splatfest. Salmon were on Team Chaos, so that would make a lot of sense. And I think it's important to slip in that Grizz was in the center, neutral, just as Judd was. Some were looking at the shadow coming off of the flag from the little life raft, thinking that perhaps that could be shaped as a traditional looking squid. And of course, going back to the big dark wall that the boat is floating on, some were thinking it's not a wall at all because it's a boat, and a boat normally goes in water. I don't know if it's just the style or if the top of this wall or wave or whatever it is a little bit curvy. It seems a little curvy to me. Perhaps it's a big tidal wave coming in. And of course, the speculation of that feeding into the lore of the tides being unstable, and that's what's causing the salmon to act so abruptly as they have been. Now, interestingly enough, I've given this about a day, and I've been keeping an eye on it, and it doesn't look like anyone has figured out what the bottom right timestamp is. It could just be a timestamp, simply put. Some were thinking that it's just the new year, 2020, and then January 1st, and it has no symbolization. People were trying to flip it upside down, thinking it could be a 4, but there was nothing really solid with it. But then, of course, you have the skepticals that don't think that this is anything aside from just a nice gesture from Splatoon. In the past, they've posted pictures for New Year's or the holiday. Some even relate to Salmon Run. One was Merry Fishmas, and it had the boat with with all the salmon. It's just kind of chilling on it, but seemingly didn't really hint at anything. It was just a nice picture that they wanted to share. And given the fact that we were trolled last week with that Instagram picture of Marina being missing and supposedly not being missing, I'll leave a link in the top right of that video where I covered it. Perhaps this is just another example of us overthinking things and Splatoon devs just poking fun at us or not really trying to do anything. The devs for Splatoon have gone on the record to say that there would be no more content coming for Splatoon 2, aside from just simple balance patches to make sure that the game was functioning properly and no one was having an unfair advantage with any weapons. So because of that fact, it would be safe to say that there's not going to be any more DLC or any kind of content coming for Splatoon 2. The next thing would then be Splatoon 3. But here's my thoughts. We know that the Splatoon dev team like to poke fun at us. They do watch social media. They were watching Reddit and Tumblr a lot in the past to see how people reacted to things and try to keep up with culture to make sure it's integrated with their content so that Splatoon would stay fresh. So I don't think it's very out of the ordinary for them to be hinting things like this. Now, regardless of it being Splatoon 3 or DLC for Splatoon 2, that I'm not actually too sure. I still think that this could be content for Splatoon 2 in the form of DLC or just to enhance Salmon Run in Splatoon 2. We don't know a whole lot about Mr. Grizz, but this might not necessarily reveal all that. I do agree that they would want to reveal more about Mr. Grizz in the sequel, Splatoon 3, and not in DLC. But I still don't think it would make sense to make a whole new game and divide the community on the same hardware. They would just put more content into the same game and not divide the community that's already shrank a little bit because we're not getting as many updates. I hear the criticism that the developers said that there's not going to be any more updates, and they've already said that, so why would they go back on it? But we've seen this in the past before. They had said that we're not going to get any more content after December of 2018, but then in January ended up giving us Sheldon picks out of nowhere, which was more content. So as far as I'm concerned, the question of if this is the devs trying to tell us that something related to salmon will be updating or not in the sequel or DLC or whatever's happening, I think that's highly probable. When or exactly what, whether it's the DLC or a sequel, like a full game, I don't know. But one theory I have that I haven't seen other people talking about is the wording of save our salmon. I think we naturally assume that this is the salmons trying to reach out to us, because as we know, in Salmon Run, we're hired by Mr. Grizz to take the eggs away from the salmonids. So this SOS, save our salmons, could be a cry for help because they're going extinct because we're taking all the eggs, and Grizz is doing who knows what with them. I think perhaps that it could mean the opposite, and that Mr. Grizz is hiring us to get the eggs so that we can save the salmonids, because for whatever reason, just leaving them in that disgusting water with the salmonids is making them go extinct. And the message of save our salmons is actually us trying to save our salmons, the salmons that are left on our planet. The only reason I could possibly think that Mr. Grizz would be the quote-unquote bad guy here to be taking all the eggs and making the salmon go extinct would be a motive of him trying to eat the eggs because he could be a bear, as the statue implies. But if the salmons go extinct, then he wouldn't have the food to eat anymore. So saving the salmon, maybe when they don't turn into salmonids so that he can still eat them and have them continue to grow, that would make a little bit more sense for even a bear's motives. And it's very clear to us that the game was written in a way to make us believe Mr. Grizz could have motives that would make him evil or trying to make this salmon extinct, and that we're just kind of being misled into supporting him and his terrible beliefs. But this wouldn't be the only time in Splatoon 2's history where a bad guy actually was the good guy, or vice versa, the good guy actually was the bad guy. In Octo Expansion, we had the phone, Tartar, guiding us through and trying to save us, trying to give us a glorious exit, only to actually jeopardize us and turn out to be the main antagonist. One thing that has remained between Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2 is the fact that the Inklings and the Octolings, to survive, need electricity, and they harness the Zapfish to do so. But it's a commodity that can't quite be shared amongst everybody without it kind of running dry. And Grizzco does say something like a brighter Inkopolis. So perhaps he's collecting these eggs, or his actions in general are trying to provide electricity for the city. Who knows? Maybe that tidal wave or wall in the back could actually be a dam. We have seen dams in Salmon Run stages, What if it's a water mill? What if using the tides and water pressure, Grizzco's just trying to generate electricity? But leave a comment down below. Let me know. What do you think? Are you skeptical? Is this nothing? Or is it hinting at DLC? Maybe salmon expansion? Or maybe Splatoon 3's lore? I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this to see if anything changes. It's been about a day or two. If I hear anything, I'll let you know. Likewise, if you hear anything, let me know in the comments or let me know on Twitter. Hope you guys are having a great day.